Welcome back to Sailing Trilleen and the great Calor fiasco. Calor, one of the main suppliers of bottled gas in the UK, has decided quite suddenly to withdraw its 4.5 kilogram butane and 3.9 kilogram propane cans. This is causing chaos in the boatyards around Britain because many boats, especially older boats, rely on this standard size of can. So there is another can made by a company called Flow Gas, this nice yellow thing. But the problem with it is that although its dimensions are almost the same as the 4.5 can of butane from Calor, they're not quite the same. So now I have to modify my gas locker, which is not something that I really wanted to be doing this winter, although it does have some side benefits, as you will see.
The modifications came in a number of stages. My first vain, of course, hope was that the changes would be limited to altering the bottle base rings, which are of different sizes between the Calor and the Flow Gas canisters. Removing the moulded rings turned out to be tricky because the previous owner had applied a very enthusiastic amount of glass reinforced plastic across a plywood former. It's easy to underestimate quite how strong cord laminates are, and I think it's safe to say that this was overbuilt. Unfortunately, at that point it became clear that wider changes were going to be necessary due to a lip at the front of the locker. The Calor bottles include in their height a folding handle, whereas the Flow Gas height does not. So although the bottle heights are nominally the same, the Flow Gas bottles didn't fit. So the next thing was to cut out the deck to create a hinged top to the locker. Cutting the hatch was pretty nerve-wracking because it's not something that you can do twice, and messing it up would be really messy. The side benefit is that the top of the deck above the gas locker has always been under reinforced. In fact, it's developed a permanent bay, so the chance to take it out and reinforce it with some cord laminate is a good thing. The other side benefit is that I have no idea what the gas locker had been painted with, except that it was wildly inappropriate for marine usage. So given all this savagery has been going on, I've taken the sanding disc and angle grinder to the problem, with the result that I have a nice clean surface for whatever I decide to apply.
I've taken the afternoon off from Trilleen because I've had my head down in the bilge under the engine working on some electrical connections that are covered in diesel and oil, and it's been pretty skanky and I needed some time to think. So I've come here to Clava Cairns, just on the outskirts of Culloden Moor. Clava Cairns is a remarkable site of 3 burial cairns, chambered cairns and ring cairns. And it's remarkable not only because of the sense of history and sacredness that surrounds the site, but also because it's a hangover. It looks superficially Neolithic, but it is in fact dated at the earliest to the Bronze Age, much later on in human history. And it's a site that was used and reused as a place of burial. The cairn behind me has a central entrance that is aligned with the solstice, the winter solstice. And at the back of the cairn, the stones, although weathered now, would have been a bright pink, so that when the midwinter sun lit them up, midwinter sunset lit them up, it would have shone in a bright and enlightening way that said that the year was turning and that light would soon return. The site itself is, I don't know, maybe 300 or 400 metres by 200 metres, and there are 3 cairns, 2 chambered cairns and 1 ring cairn, each with a outlying ring of stones. This afternoon, as the sun goes down, the ravens and crows are calling and the wind is rushing in the mixed forest of beech and birch that surrounds the site. The light is, at this time of year, low and very white. As you can see, the sun's just coming out behind the camera. And it's freezing cold today. It's been snowing higher up in the mountains, and you can feel it, the cold air running down off the hills. It's a site that's actually not visited really as much as it might be. It used to be really hidden away, although there are now some signs leading people to it, which I think is a good thing, because it's one of the more remarkable sites in Murray and the Highlands, and it's so easily accessible that it's a joy to be able to come here, and also to be able to take you with me on this little trip round the Cairns.